Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch. Challengers. Hey, y'all, hey. Welcome to Sisters Who Watch.
Hello, I'm Shelby.
And I'm Laura. And we're sisters who watch everything. TV, movies, sports, concerts, and even tortured tennis players desperately in need of therapy.
ASAP.
ASAP. We love to watch. We love talking about it even more. Today we're watching Challengers.
Luca Guadagnino's romantic and thrilling sports drama.
And before we get into all our tennis puns, please make sure that you are subscribed to Sisters Who Watch on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, so you get updates when we post new episodes. And make sure to rate us 5 stars. 5 stars, please. And make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn. Go follow us and go buy our merch. We have hats. You can wear our hats while you're playing tennis.
Of course.
We have t-shirts. We have crop tops. We have sweatshirts. Go check it out. Go buy some merch. Okay, Shelby, let's get into the background of Challengers.
Yes, can't wait. So everybody, here is the logline for Challengers. Tashi, a former tennis prodigy turned coach, turned her husband into a champion. But to overcome a losing streak, he needs to face his ex-best friend and Tashi's ex-boyfriend. Drama! And of course it stars Zendaya, our queen. Joining her is Josh O'Connor from The Crown and Mike Feist, who you guys may know from West Side Story. It's really about them as a trio, and it's directed by Luca Guadagnino from Call Me By Your Name fame. When, Armie Hammer, Timothée Chalamet in Italy. Beautiful film. And it's
Armie Hammer.
I know.
Oh, retracted.
And the film is written by Justin Kuritzkis. Sorry, Justin, messed up your last name. Who is married to Celine Song of Past Lives.
Oh, yes. Go check out our episode on Past Lives with Toya from Harlem. It's a great episode.
Yes. So interesting to see, his writing style in this. I thought he did a great job. Challengers was supposed to premiere last fall, but was pushed to spring of 2024 due to the actors and writers strikes. And it was released theatrically by Amazon MGM Studios. And going into this, I was very excited. Hopefully you all listened to our most anticipated content of 2024 episode, because Challengers was on both of our lists, and it was my number one title that I was excited for.
Yes.
It had romance. It had sports. We love tennis. You can't tell by our fits. We're tennis girlies. We're out in those courts.
We both were excited about this movie. We are Zendaya fans, right? I didn't watch much of it, but I remember her from her Disney Channel days, right? Like, we've been watching her for a very long time. So it's really cool that she's now the lead of a huge movie. And I don't think she's been a lead of a feature film like this, right? Like, she's been supporting like a theatrical film in this way.
Yeah, this was her first time as a lead, I'd say. And she also had top billing. You see the poster for it. It's like literally her, right?
Yes.
And apparently, I think either she got paid 10 to 20 million. Like, this apparently is like her most highest paying role to date. So this was a big deal for her. Lead billing, getting paid a lot, and is front and center on all the artwork and
love it.
So this was her moment to see what she can do really on her own.
How did the box office go for Challengers?
Well, it grossed $15 million domestically its opening weekend, which is Luca Guadagnino's biggest box office opening to date, which is a big deal. But also, when you think about it, he's made very indie movies, right? Like Call Me By Your Name. It doesn't shock me that it beat Call Me By Your Name in terms of domestic box office gross. But who knows how it'll continue to do. Hopefully it has some traction and legs, because the estimated budget people are saying is $55 million. And that doesn't include marketing and all the advertising. And I feel like I've been seeing ads everywhere for this.
Yes. Something else that I was expecting from this movie, and we kind of talked about this, everyone's kind of talked about the threesome. Like before the movie came out, they were like the threesome, and I was like, what? But you kind of see it in the trailer. And I feel like that was the thing a lot of people were kind of speculating on social media and stuff. Um, but apparently you didn't really hear about that.
No, you brought it up to me, like, Shelby, I don't know if like we should see this with our family because it's gonna be very sexual. There's gonna be a threesome. I was like, what? Like, I missed that. Like, in the trailer, you see how she's like in between these two guys, but it didn't really give like, oh my gosh, there's gonna be a threesome to me. It was kind of like she had options. And when you see the movie, I feel like, at least for me, it wasn't as, I think, graphic or sexual as people expected. Do you agree with
Yeah,
that?
I agree with that because I think especially because everyone was like, "Oh, the threesome," that I was expecting, like there wasn't a threesome in the movie,
So
right?
I was right. I was right.
But no, there wasn't actually a threesome in the movie. So I thought that was interesting. And some people were like they advertised this, everyone thought there was going to be like this big threesome in the movie and it didn't happen and some people were disappointed because, that's what a lot of people were expecting. Okay, Shelby, what were some of your favorite moments from Challengers?
I liked every tennis scene. It was like so intense and like visually stunning, and it was a little intense. I felt like every tennis scene, it was like back and forth and close ups of sweat
Yeah.
and the grunting and the heads. It was just, it was a lot. It felt like you were like, in the match. It made me want to get on the court even more. I feel like this movie is the best
Yeah,
advertisement for tennis.
it is.
USTA should be like thanking them.
I thought the tennis scenes were really well done. I mean, we're not tennis pros. Like, let's not confuse
Yeah, I guess we shouldn't oversell or overhype our abilities.
We grew up playing tennis. We took tennis lessons. Shelby played a bit more than me, but just for fun, I like to play with friends. So I can, the scale, like the USTA scale, I'm like a 3, maybe 3.5. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Laura, 3.5 is like, I would consider myself a 3.
Okay,
3.5,
right.
I think, is a little,
Okay, so a 3, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
it's
like a
into
3.
advanced. Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
basically, the USTA scale is like 1.0 to beginner, and then like 5.0, advanced. And 3 is like intermediate in the beginning. Um, Not in the beginning. Ugh. 3.0 is intermediate. And I like to consider myself like advanced, beginner, intermediate. So I would inch towards 3.
Were you convinced by the actor's tennis skills? I know that Zendaya self-proclaimed is like not an athlete. Like she doesn't work out, like famously
She
does
doesn't work
not.
out?
No. Isn't that the worst thing you've ever heard? Someone as gorgeous and thin as her doesn't work out.
Wow.
Famously doesn't work out. So me seeing her as like a tennis pro, I don't know if I was 100% convinced, but her acting was great. But like her as a tennis, like she's so slight and slim, I was like, I don't see her as like this, you know,
Wow. I believe
tennis
it,
pro.
but now that I
Okay.
know she doesn't work out, I'm like, huh, maybe I don't believe it. But before you told me that, I was like, yeah, I believe her as a tennis pro. Does she have the same build as like a Serena Williams? No. But I think she sold it. So to
Yeah.
your point, maybe it was the acting that kind of overcompensated for what she lacked in athletic ability.
Yeah. That's so fair.
And I thought the guys
Yeah.
were great. They really sold it. Maybe it was the dripping sweat. Maybe it was the grunting. Maybe it was like the fist pumps. But it was giving like they knew how to play tennis.
Yes, I agree. I was convinced. I was like, I wonder if they like got actors who knew how to play. Like that I was so convinced. I was like, did they know how to play before? Or like are these tennis playing actors? Like I was impressed. I was impressed. Yeah.
It seems like they had a lot of intense training to prepare.
Yes. We've seen some of the press videos and they had like 4-hour workouts every day, like months and months of trainings. And Zendaya, go check out her Instagram. I follow her and she posted a video of all the training she had to do. Right? She doesn't work out, so she really had to like get in shape for this movie. Even though Zendaya didn't convince me as a tennis player, I loved all her looks. Like she always looked really good. Who's surprised? Who's surprised? Even when she was wearing like an oversized t-shirt and like a zip up sweatshirt, I was like, wow, slay. Like she can literally wear anything and look amazing. So, and the hair. What do you think of the hair in the movie?
I was a little surprised at like the variety of wigs. I was like, oh wow. But I guess they had to do that to show, right,
The
like
time
the
jumps.
time, yeah, the time jumps and like the differences. I think I liked her hair most when she was younger, like the kind of
Yeah.
long hair and like the braid when she was playing tennis. Like I think I like that the best. But I
Yes.
understand that the short bob was meant to make her look mature. And I kind of felt a little too mature. It was weird seeing Zendaya in that way, but she was supposed to be like a mom and a wife and a coach.
My favorite look when she was at her party, and I loved how the guys were just like obsessed, like they kept on staring at her. It was so funny. Mouths agape. And she was in that blue dress and she was sitting on the beach and like her hair. My friends and I were saying she looked like Halle Bailey. Like Halle Bailey, watch out, because Zendaya's gonna take your job for Little Mermaid. Like she looked like the Little Mermaid on that beach. And she just looked so good. Like me and my friends sitting next to each other, we both gasped. We were like, like she looked amazing in that scene. Like the look when she was in that white tennis dress
She looked so good.
and the slicked back hair and the braid, I was like, so good, so good.
Yeah, the younger hair looks were perfect.
I agree.
So good. Another favorite moment for me is when we see Art and Tashi on an Applebee's date. I thought it was just cute seeing them start to have a romantic connection, given she had been with Patrick already and they had gone to school together and he was there to kind of help her through her injury. So to be
Yeah.
rekindled years later, I thought that was cute and I believed it. I was like, yeah, I do think they have a connection. When they had that first kiss in the parking lot, I was like, I'm here for it. And then, of course, we see maybe there wasn't that much love in the relationship later on. But
Yeah, I was waiting for them to get together because Patrick is a clown. So I was just like, Tashi, like this guy clearly
Art's a good
cares
guy.
so much about you, right? Like Art's such a good guy. He's done so much for you. Like, why are you with this other garbage can? Like Patrick was not the best guy. So I was like, yes, finally, like she's choosing the right one. Short lived assumption. Speaking of Patrick and Tashi, you also loved the windy car ride scene when Zendaya escapes in the night out of her hotel room with Art to go see Patrick. Oh my
I
gosh.
did because I was really trying to figure out what is happening here. Like I wasn't sure how it was going to end,
Yeah.
and they were just fighting and arguing, driving around crazy. She was like, I'm gonna sit in the back and needs to look like an Uber ride. Like it was just all this stuff. And then of course they end up having sex in the back of the car, only for her to be like, I need you to lose tomorrow. It'll like break Art if you don't. And I was like,
She is nuts.
Tashi,
She
not me
is
sleeping with this
wild.
man, so he will do what you want him to do.
Patrick was like, Tashi, you're just like me, but I admit it. I know who I am. And I was like, oh. And at first I didn't know exactly what he was talking about, but like how he was, sleeping with people to find places to stay. Um, my friends were like, well, she slept with him to get what she wanted, to convince him to lose. And I was like, oh my gosh. So like they were doing the same things, right? Like they were using other people to get what they want to get from A to B.
A lot of these characters are probably more alike than they want to admit or realize. And Patrick is a lot more upfront about being like a jerk. And
Yeah.
Tashi, I think, was a low key jerk and trying to play both sides and like, no, I am like a thoughtful wife and I just want the best for Art, But sleeping with Patrick because you want the best for Art and him not to lose a match doesn't really make sense. Especially when he's telling you he wants to retire and he's not happy. So
Oh
maybe he should
my
lose and
gosh.
end his career. Maybe he should stop playing. But you want him to keep playing. That's what you want, Tashi, not Art.
I know. It's just insanity. Oh,
But I still love
Tashi.
Tashi. I can critique, but I was rooting for her. What can I say? Zendaya just found a way to reel me in. She was a complicated figure.
To say the least. Speaking of least, what were your least favorite moments from the movie?
I think this was during that windy scene when Tashi spit in Patrick's face. I thought she was gonna like slap him. I thought she was gonna like, I don't know, but spitting, I did not see it coming.
That was insane. I literally was like, what? Are
That
you
threw me for a
for
loop.
real? Girl. And then he was smiling.
They're crazy. Honestly, they might be meant for each other. That's what's so wild. I mean, they are both like,
I,
ooh,
both unhinged, sick, deranged. I just all the things.
yeah. I
Sadistic, poor art. Like art is too
Not just for
pure.
art. I did see a video though of them doing press, and Josh O'Connor, who plays Patrick, was saying that Zendaya like struggled to spit, so they had to give her some like kind of liquid to like then spit on him. And like they had to film that scene so many times and he just kept getting spit in the face.
Wow.
Brutal. Yeah. I think it was a
Ugh.
response to a question about like a least favorite moment or something. I'm like, I'm sure being
Yeah,
spit
getting
in the face
spit in
so
the
much.
face over and over again cannot be me. Another scene that I was just like so uncomfortable by, Luca Guadagnino, right? Like he knows how to build tension so well, and he did a lot of shots that were like so close to the camera. I was like, back up. Like it was so weird. And one scene, people were calling it lovingly the churro scene when Patrick comes and visits Stanford, and they're like catching up. Him and Art are catching up in the lunchroom, and they're like eating churros, and they're like so close to each other's face. It's so weird. They're like this close, and I see that throughout the movie. They're always like this close to each other, and I'm like back up. Like it's weird.
Like,
It's
yeah, do
really
y'all want to
weird.
kiss? Are y'all in a relationship? Like, what's
I
going
mean, Zendaya clocked that from day one. She was like, have you two?
on?
Like,
Never.
something weird is going on
And they
between
were
the
like,
two of you.
no, no, never. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay. Because it seems like y'all might have some like sexual
There's
tension
a
or
lot of
something.
passion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, why are they always like 2 inches from each other's faces? Remember when Zendaya like held out the hand for Art to spit out his gum? We
Mm-hmm.
see that Patrick also did that for Art. And I was like, why are you holding his gum? It's so weird. They act like they're in a relationship.
To bring in the Bravo verse, it's kind of like Tom Sandoval and Tom Schwartz.
Oh my gosh, yes. That's so true. Business partners, tennis partners who are way too close.
Way too close.
Codependent, master manipulator on one
Ooh.
hand. The other doesn't have much of a backbone.
Speaking of Stanford, I think maybe almost everyone's least favorite scene is Tashi's injury. It
Oof.
happens at Stanford, and right after a fight she has with Patrick, which I don't know. It makes, who knows what effect it had, but it makes me think maybe her like mind wasn't right. She wasn't able to do all her stretching, her routine. Like she just
Right.
got thrown off because of that fight with Patrick. And then is playing someone who she could easily beat. And she's saying, yeah, after the season, if we win, I'll go pro. And so what's devastating is she gets injured, a bone like breaks in her knee or something as she's trying to
Ugh.
like, it looked bad. And she's like crying on the court, and Art runs down, jumps over the net to help her, and then is
Oh.
there by her side. And Patrick is nowhere to be found because he was upset.
And if that's your girlfriend who you love and support, even if you got into a fight, you show up.
Didn't you come to Stanford to see her play in the first place?
It's giving clown. It really is.
Clown. And then he tries to visit her when she's in the locker room, like upset. And she's like, get out of here. Get out of here. And then Art's like, get out of here, Patrick. Get out. Yeah, that was a tough moment, especially because Tashi had been so good as like a teen, right? She like was a USTA junior, like US Open champion for women, and never got to go pro because she hurt herself in college.
Are we ready for our categories?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, Shelby, who or what from Challengers did you love to hate? Mixed feelings.
Tashi's a complicated figure. She's our protagonist. She looks beautiful.
Of
She
course.
commands the screen. Like Zendaya, I think, was doing an acting masterclass the whole time. But she also wasn't the best wife. Don't know if she's the best mother. She almost like prioritized tennis or everything else. She cheated with Patrick multiple times. Like it just, I feel like Tashi pre-injury and Tashi post-injury are very different people. I
Right.
think she always was into tennis, but it almost became maybe like an obsession or fixation on her husband's tennis career because she couldn't help
Right.
herself. I understand that and I empathize with her, but she also like made really bad decisions to work towards that dream for her husband.
In the beginning of the movie, I was like, yes, queen. Like, I really, really liked her. Um, and I was like, wow, like, how do I get to be like Tashi? She's a boss. She has all these like beautiful men fighting over her. I was like, I need to do whatever she's doing. And then slowly during the movie, I was like, oh no. Has gone astray. Like something is wrong. Something is up with
The
her.
villain arc.
So I don't know. I think she might be in my hate to hate. I don't. There's not that much redeemable. What is redeemable about her? She she is playing both of these men. She doesn't care about either their feelings. Like everyone is disposable to her. She is so selfish, and I hate to say that because I really liked her in the beginning of the movie, and I love Zendaya, but I was just like, what is up with her during the 8 years ago period when she like disappeared from the hotel lobby with Patrick? I was like, what is she doing? And then when she slept with him again the night before, I was like, oh, there's no coming back from this. I was like, okay, maybe one time, like, maybe one time is a mistake, but like again, there's no excuse. There's no excuse. I was just like, oh, she's trying to ruin everything.
I can't deny anything you said.
You said you were rooting for her in the end, and I had another friend who was like, "Oh, I don't care that she was manipulating both of them. Like,
I want the best for her.
like, yeah, go off, queen. Do what you got to do." And I was like, "What?" Patrick did have a point. Unfortunately, I do. There was one point where he was like, "I want you to be my girlfriend, not my tennis coach," and I was like, "Yeah, Tashi. Like, you don't always have to be coaching him when he's trying to kiss you." He's like, "Why do we have to talk about that right now?" And when she was like in bed with Art, like they were talking about Patrick, I was like, why are they talking about this? It just felt like she couldn't have like an intimate moment and not make everything about tennis.
Tennis was her true love. Art
Right.
was like, Patrick doesn't love you. And she was like, why do you think I need someone to love me? Like,
I mean, she said that.
she said it.
Listen. Yeah, we gotta listen to her.
She
Can't be
said
mad.
it. Sadly, she lost the ability to get it for herself. So she put everything into getting that true love through other people.
For hate to hate, who do you have for this category?
I think Patrick, he, even though I do think he had some truth serum in him, like he would say like, things that people didn't want to hear, like Tashi, you're just like me, and like, he was a little, I think, abrasive and aggressive. I will never understand the whole I come from money, I'm rich, but I'm like living in my car trying to make it as a tennis pro and trying to prove a point to my family. Your credit card's declined and you don't have enough money to pay for a hotel room? Call your dad. Go home. Like you're
Go
41.
home.
Like it's hard for me to feel bad and relate to that. Because you
No.
don't have to be in that experience. Like you could be
No.
living differently.
You can practice tennis from your mom and dad's country club, okay? Like why do you have to sleep in your car? Absolutely bananas. Yeah, I agree. Patrick was just such I did not like him at all. I feel like he dragged Tashi down. Like he was, the temptation who was like, I know you hate him. He was like, I know you hate Art. And I was like, what is wrong with, like, he was intentionally trying to be messy, stir the pot, and like get Tashi back the entire time. He was a bad boyfriend. I mean, she also wasn't a great girlfriend.
Who do you think Tashi liked more?
Isn't it clearly Patrick? She clearly likes him more. She was constantly cheating on her husband with Patrick.
Oh, man.
It seemed like Art was
Safe
available.
choice?
Yes, the safe choice. Another reference to past lives. Remember, we talked about,
Yes.
having a safe choice and having something more risky. Like, Art seemed more safe and someone who was there, always there for her. And
Hmm.
she was like, oh, like, I can, he's a great tennis player. I can still live out my tennis fantasies, right? And someone who can take care of me and have my child, right? Whereas Patrick, absolutely no stability, literally living in his car. Like, why would you don't want to start, right, the family and the life together with the bad boy who doesn't have his life together. So of course she likes Patrick more. She
It's,
first chose him.
I know. It's the classic
Bad boy.
rom-com romance woman trope. You really want the bad boy, but no, you shouldn't. So you pick the good guy and you settle.
Are you into the bad boy? I'm
No,
personally not. I want someone who is stable,
you
kind.
are over Patrick any day.
Right? I'm not into it. I just want take care of me.
Yeah, the
I
thought
don't
of
want
someone
someone like
being mean to
reckless.
me.
Yeah. Okay, what did you love to love, Shelby?
Well, the Westchester County setting, but the match that was happening present day between Patrick and Art was in New Rochelle, which is in Westchester County, New York. And given, we are from there, it was so fun seeing New Rochelle. And when
Yes.
Patrick is looking at the dating app and seeing people from like Scarsdale, Poughkeepsie, or whatever, I was just like, this is crazy.
Portchester. I was like, what? And like we said, Art. Art was just too good for everyone in this film.
Like, even at the beginning, when Patrick is like, yeah, you haven't heard of Tashi Duncan? Like, I just want to have sex with her. Da da da. And Art's like, man, she's really good at tennis. Like, like, even from the beginning, Art was trying to highlight how there's more to Tashi than just like being beautiful and hot.
During the final tennis match, which the ending was so good, but when he like did the signal to show that he like had sex with Tashi, a callback to like 13 years ago, that was so disturbing. I was like, this guy is the worst. The worst.
And then poor Art looked at him and then looked at Tashi in the stands and was like, you slept with my wife?
Poor Art. Like, Art didn't deserve any of this. Tashi has been playing him for 13 years. Has Patrick ever been a real friend to Art? I don't know. I also really loved the cinematography. Like, I was really impressed. I thought it was really well directed.
Mm-hmm. It was very cinematic. And I feel like the cuts and direction, again, kept you on the edge of your seat. And like you said, it was even disorienting when you would go really close. And then when they were playing tennis, bouncing from side to side, I was like, oof, I'm like, can't keep up. The last thing for Love to Love, I think, is the music. And to be honest, the music initially was a little jarring for me. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
EDM, house music, very pump up. Like it was a little jarring. I was like, are we at a rave? At a
It felt like we were at a rave. Yes.
what's going on? Am I at not Coachella? What are the EDM
Um,
concerts?
Electric Zoo? Is that
Yeah,
one of
man,
them?
Electric Zoo. Like,
It felt like we were in a club and I was like, what is going on? But the music was great. I was into it by the end and you're like, oh, something's happening. When the music started, you're like, oh, we're gonna get something good. Okay, are you ready for red flag, green flag, one, two, three?
yes, game time.
Our game. Okay, Shelby. Is it a red flag to be in a love triangle or lead people on? Kind of like Tashi?
Yes, you have to make a decision. It's not fair to either of them, but it's really not fair to the person you're supposed to be with and the fact that you still have feelings or still interacting with someone else.
I agree. Like the way she was leading. And the thing is that you're married and have a kid with one of them. Like, why are you still in a love triangle with this guy? Like, it's so unfair. And it's also, when you were talking, I was giving Love Island, right? Like, if you have multiple connections, like at some point you have to cut the other one off because it's like, what are you doing? You're hurting everyone involved. And you're not gonna reach your full potential with one person if you still are trying to pursue and intertwined with someone else. Entanglement, to quote Jada Pinkett Smith.
It's so
Tashi
silly.
was definitely entangled with Patrick.
Is it a green flag to never give up on your dream, like Patrick?
In Patrick's case, no. Red flag. Like, don't sleep in your car. Go to your family's mansion. It makes literally no sense. I feel like we've talked about this on other episodes, right? Like, it's important to have drive and passion and ambition, but like, you gotta have some self awareness, right? Like, if you've been trying to chase the dream for 13 years to be a tennis player, and you're sleeping in cars and you can't make ends meet, maybe you need to pivot. Maybe you need to pivot, or do tennis like on the side, like do something else, right? Like you can have, right, like a day job, a 9 to 5, but still like, or part-time. Like you can't even pay for one night at a hotel. Like what are you doing? Okay, so is Challengers a wait or a watch?
A watch. It is the
100%.
most anticipated title, and it definitely delivered. I
Yes.
honestly kind of want to see it again.
We had high expectations. We knew this film was coming out. We were excited to see it. Call Me by Your Name. I know that's a film that you really love, Shelby. So the expectations were high, and they were met if not exceeded. Right? Like I was really impressed by the movie. Fast paced, like the tennis action was really good. Like as tennis fans, like we'll watch just tennis matches, right? And the U.S. Open and Wimbledon, we'll watch that. So like we know good tennis. And I thought like the tennis scenes are really well done. Do you think any Oscar buzz? What do you think?
I've been hearing people talking, saying that possibly, Zendaya could get nominated for her first Oscar here. And I honestly think the supporting performances are great from Josh O'Connor and Mike Feist. I think the
Right.
script's good. I think the direction's good. I mean, it's coming out now, and Oscar season is a long ways away, so they'd have to get some momentum back
Yeah.
maybe later this fall in the winter. But I think this could be a contender for sure.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely the best movie probably I've seen so far this year. I mean, I can't think of anything else.
Well,
Or
I
maybe
know
even the
people like Dune, but
oh, I didn't see that. But yeah, if you want more Zendaya content, go watch Dune. Maybe I should go watch it. But yeah, I think it was definitely the best movie I've seen this year. Maybe the best movie I've seen like in the past year. Like I really enjoyed it. And it kept me like guessing and on my toes the whole time. So yeah, go watch it. Go support Zendaya. Go see the movie. There were also a lot of interesting social media theories um, for challengers. It's kind of blowing up online. So who is your villain? Like who's the main villain of the movie?
even though I had her in love to hate, I think it's Tashi.
Who you're rooting for? Who you love? I
What can I
can't.
say? A little problematic. Yeah, she was the puppet master. She was
Yeah.
manipulating everyone. Even though Patrick was a jerk, like she used him to get what she wanted.
All she cares about is tennis, right? That's her true love. So I also agree. I think Tashi is the villain, and everyone else is collateral damage. Yes, is Patrick kind of a bad person in the movie? Yes, but Tashi was using him and using art. She was using everyone.
Do you think Tashi purposefully put Art at that New Rochelle Challengers match because she knew Patrick would be there?
Now that I'm looking back, at first I was like, "That's insane," and like so plotted. Like, why would she do that? But now looking back, I'm like, no, she's insane and has been basically plotting for the past 13 years. So would I put it past her? No. She probably did.
I know.
Because out of all the places, New Rochelle, New York, like, it's just feels random.
She wanted Art to be able to be motivated and start winning again. So
Yeah.
it would not surprise me if she did it to inspire Art, but also to see Patrick again. She wanted a little more of him.
Messy Queen. What if Tashi's baby is not Art's
Stop.
child?
I can't.
What if Patrick's the
boy
dad? They were like, well, the daughter looks like she's like 7. So
That's
the
crazy.
timeline matches up.
When Tashi and Patrick were talking present day, he was like, "Did you ever tell him about Atlanta?" And her face was like giving no. So
I know.
I would not be shocked if that could be the case. But then, like, why wouldn't Patrick question it? Well, maybe he didn't know.
No, he had no idea. Yeah, she was like Lily, and he was like, who?
She's like,
How
or
do you
both.
had no idea? It's 2019. You didn't see that online or something? I don't know. And what did you think of the ending? Like Patrick, them hugging, Patrick and Art hugging, Zendaya being like, "Come on!" And like, do you think that her and Art are still together? Are they getting divorced? Like, who won? Like, I have so many questions.
Well, Tashi said if Art didn't win the match, she would divorce him.
Was she being serious? At first, it seemed like she was joking, and I was like, she might be serious.
No, I think she was being serious. Because then she told Patrick to lose the match. Like, I genuinely think she was being
Villain.
crazy. No, the ending, I think Tashi finally got her good tennis. She just wanted really good tennis match. And once Art found out that Patrick slept with Tashi, he really turned the tennis to another level in that match. And it went to a tiebreaker, and they were just hitting the ball back and forth. It was so intense. They were both so passionate. And then when Art hits like this shot over the net, he like falls into Patrick's arms. And it was just giving like, wow, so this was the real love story the whole time. It honestly seems like they're just going to be a trio forever. It's going to be this weird trio. Art
Ugh.
and Patrick are now friends again. I think Art and Tashi will stay together, and Patrick will just be in their lives again. It'll just be this weird trio.
Yeah, maybe it'll be like a throuple.
Honestly, that's what I think. I don't know if Art will be happy, but I think it'll be happy for everyone else.
Oh yeah, Tashi would love that. She can have her cake and eat it too. She can have it all. That's so interesting because right, like they teased a threesome. They didn't actually have a threesome, but what if right, like that's what the reality becomes, right? Like they're all just together, codependent, like in this one relationship. This movie and a lot of of course, Call Me by Your Name. It's like kind of homoerotic and like gay coded a bit, and this movie was definitely giving that.
For sure.
Because it's like these two guys, something weird's going on. Like they're clearly into each other, and then they end the movie in each other's arms. Like what?
Crazy. It's a lot of will they, won't they, and like you said, a lot of sexual tension. Like Luca Guadagnino is great at that.
On to our what to watch segment.
I would catch up on all of the cast press tour videos and social media and interviews. I mean, I went down a rabbit hole a few days ago and was so into it. So I highly recommend seeing the trio talk about the movie, how they did train, just funny moments. I was into it. I've heard rumors that Zendaya and Tom Holland might be trying to start a family.
Oh,
So I know I was looking at Zendaya's Internet Movie Database page, and it was very empty for upcoming. And I'm like, Zendaya, you're at like the top of your game. Why aren't you
I
going to be in a new
know.
movie next year or later this year? What's going on? So I'm like, are you trying to settle down? I would, I want the best for her, but I would love her to
Yes.
keep making content. But if she wants to, be a mom, more power to her.
Yes. I mean, I think obviously the world would like to see a Tom Holland and Zendaya baby, but they're still so young. Like they're both in their 20s. We'll see. We'll keep tabs on that. And if you enjoyed this episode of Sisters Who Watch, make sure you give us 5 stars wherever you listen. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever. Give us 5 stars, please. And go follow us on all our social media platforms Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Go follow us and show us some love. And we have merch. So we have hats, sweatshirts, mugs, stickers. Go support us. If you go to our website, sisterswhowatch.com, just go to the shop tab and you'll find all of our merch.
Yes. We want to hear from y'all. Please DM us on social media, comment on our posts, respond to our Q&As on polls on Spotify. You can even email us at sisterswhowatch@gmail.com. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate y'all so much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Everything.
Stay watching.